Labmates, for today's video, we are going to check out GL Model's take on the Aerial Gundam from the franchise Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. Okay, Labmates, right off the bat, the GL Model Aerial Gundam, of course a copy of the MGSD Aerial Gundam by Bandai. As you can see here, the box, it's just plain old simple cardboard, one-on-one copy with in terms to text and artwork of the original Bandai merchandise. Nothing fancy, nothing to see here. I just want to show you the box. For the instructions manual, everything is clear and concise. I was able to follow it every step of the way. Everything is laid out perfectly with in terms to how you will build the model kit or construct your kit. So I don't have anything to say bad about this piece of paper here. So yeah, so far so good. By the way, Labmates, on this part of the video, I already worked on the shield, the blaster, and the head. I already constructed them ahead of filming this video. So I'm just showing you a really quick blitz that they are already constructed. Speaking of construction, we're going to talk about that later on. However, working on this kit, I can say that, you know, the plastic quality is quite nice. Also, when I received the package, I don't have any runners that are missing or perhaps had damage during transit. Kudos to the seller, thank you very much. Oh, and speaking of plastic quality, I said that it's quite good. However, it's not going to be Bandai quality, of course, so set your expectations. And speaking of expectation, here is the body. We are already half there. We just need to put the shell units and the armor. And speaking of that, here we go. Almost done. I'm going to put the backpack later on. So let's move on and work on our waist unit, which is the one that gave me a headache on this build. And speaking of that, here is the waist unit. Remember the construction issue that I was speaking of earlier? This is it. The inner frame of the waist unit I had problems with. There's a fitment issue. I thought at first it was me. However, it's not. 3-4 times I reconstruct and disassemble it, but it's still there is a gap. So I do need to remove some of the plastic parts. As you can see there, I use some files and also a hobby knife to do so, to remove some of the materials. So here we go. We already fit everything in place and we have a completed waist unit. That's the expectation when working on these types of kits. Bootleg kits, you do need to do some adjustment. Moving on to the head, connecting to the body, and then we're going to also connect our waist unit to the body. I just need to stick it in there, and there you go. That is our Aerial Gundam half done. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to work on the limbs, leg units, and of course the arm units. For this particular model kit build, we are going to start with our leg unit here, which is from what you can see in this video. I'm showing you, it has great details and it has great articulation. In the end of the day, even though that this is a SD kit, it's still a master grade kit. Hence, it is an MGSD kit. So you're going to have great details and articulation. And of course, we already skipped working on the other leg. Here we go, plus the armor for both legs. We're going to stick it in to our main body. And putting in the legs to the main body. And of course, on those latches, there is no fitment issue. Actually, on the whole build, I did not have any fitment issue. Again, it's just the waist unit that we had some problems. Now, moving on into our arms and our hands. I already installed it. It has some quite good articulation over there, as you can see while I'm testing it on those fingers. And the arms also has good movement and articulation. I'm going to show you all of this later on when we're posing our gunpla here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, lab mates, we have attached both arms and the legs to our MGSD Aerial Gundam by GL model. I mean, look at that stunner over there. Almost complete, almost complete. We just need to have the backpack constructed and completed, and we're going to attach it to this guy over here. So without further ado, let's raise our hands and punch our way and create that backpack. Let's speed run constructing this backpack. So we have the centerpiece, which is where we are going to attach these two guys over here, which holds our two beam saber. I preferred calling them laser sword, but that's a Voltus 5 thingy. So yeah, beam saber, we are going to attach it to those two protrusions over there. Then we're going to attach that protrusion to the back of our Aerial Gundam. And now, ladies and gentlemen, lab mates, we have 100% build Aerial Gundam at our hand. Also, we already cut out the laser effect for our blaster, and we also have the laser effect for our beam saber. Okay, checking out the articulation of our Aerial Gundam over here by GL model. As you can see, of course, this is a master grade Gundam, so you can do a lot on this one because of the many joints and gimmicks that master grade has. However, since this is a knockoff or a bootleg, you would expect that there's going to be compromises, but hey, those compromises are really minimal, and this thing can really pose. It's a posing monster as well. Your imagination is the limit. However, in terms to that head, unfortunately, it's not going to spin 360 degrees. Reason for that is because it's a bubble head, and that backpack is big, which prevents the head to spin 360 degrees. You can also do some split. You can also make this kit kneel. Again, that's the beauty of a master grade kit. Those joints and those inner frames are really, really great. Those beam protrusion that holds the saber, I hope that they are going to be much more sturdier. They're quite flimsy. I don't like it. But all in all I can say is that I like the kit. For the price, this is a good kit. There's no loose parts. As you can see, I'm shaking it right now. So all in all, good job. Labmates, the Aerial Gundam by GL model. The first Gundam that we are reviewing on the channel. Also, the first bootleg Gundam that we are checking out. Okay, right off the bat, I am a really big fan of the Gundam franchise. More specifically, by Gundam Wing, Gundam 00, and the IBO franchise. The IBO franchise, the design, but I was not able to watch the anime in full. 00 is the last one that I watched, episode per episode. However, for the Witch of Mercury series and the Gigax, I'm not quite fan of those anime. The reason for that is not because of the Gundam design. I like the design of the Aerial Gundam over here. That's the reason why we have this guy over there. And the Gigax Gundam, the mobile suit on that series, the mobile suits on that series reminds me of Evangelion, which is one of the best mecha IP of all time. Seriously. So I'm not complaining about the mecha. I think the characters are not just fleshed out too much. That's the reason why. Anyways, that's a different conversation. Going back to our GL model Aerial Gundam here, the build is quite okay. You do need to do some fixes, specifically that hip part over there. I do need to make some major adjustments. I mean, a lot of plastic snipping, filing on the internals of the hip part so that everything would fit in perfectly. And that's the reason why it took me 2 weekends to build this guy, because I only have a couple of hours to work on model kits due to our work. Also, another point that I want to give out is that shield over there. It's quite flimsy. I don't know why. I already did assemble it. It's not me. I don't know if it's the plastic or something else, but there's quite a fitment issue on that shield. But hey, this model kit right here is cheaper than the Bandai. The official Bandai release by not just 50%. I think around 60 to 70%. So who am I to complain? And that's the reason why we are discussing this and looking into bootlegs, knockoff, whatever you want to call them. It's because of economics. Right now, life is becoming more difficult and difficult due to high prices within terms to everything is going up. And for those people that needs to prioritize food on the table, are you going to buy something like a 2,000 3,000 peso Gundam, or are you going to buy a 500 peso Gundam from a third party, or perhaps a copy of the official Bandai Gundam? Of course, you're going to choose the latter. And that's the market, and that's the reason why we have this. The wife is the only one who's sponsoring, so if somebody is watching this who wants to sponsor us, give us some free knickknacks over there. I mean, things to review, of course. I'm willing to, so that we can check that out on our channel. So overall impressions, this Gundam kit, the MGSD line, from GL model, specifically the Aerial Gundam, I give it 7 Shiba stars. It's not perfect, but with using the proper tools and doing some adjustments, you're going to have a lot of fun working on this particular model kit. Well, that's it for today's video, Labmates. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you do have any comment suggestions or anything, just put it on the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. And always, check out if we have some new videos out there. Again, this is Mark. Thank you very much for watching. Have an awesome day, ladies and gents. Bye.